Perfect. Okay. Well, why don't we get started? Everyone, if you would please mute your lines, we'd appreciate it. Welcome everyone to our town hall meeting. And I know it says second quarter town hall meeting, but we will actually be reviewing our updates and key accomplishments for the first quarter of 2025. I'll just kind of advance the slides to introduce myself and my co-host. So I am Dr. Sidoni Niba. Many of you probably know me. I am the founder of the African think tank and also serve as the board chair for the organization. I have a massive team behind me. I certainly give all the credit to these folks for the amazing progress we've made as a team and as an organization in the almost 2 years we've been around. Shannon, who is one of our board members, will be joining us. I'm not sure if she's on yet, but Carrie, just give me a signal when Shannon joins.
Yes,
I'm
Shannon
here.
is on.
Oh, good.
And Sidoni, I don't know if you've changed the slide yet. If you have, it's still showing the first slide on our screens.
Okay, that's weird. I did change it, but thank you for that. Let me reshare. If someone will let me know if you can see it. There. This is weird. I think it's frozen for me. Carrie, are you able to pull it up?
Yes, give me one second.
Screen froze. And Shannon, while she does that, do you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself to the team?
Absolutely. I'm Shannon Oku, and I have the honor and privilege of serving on the board of the African think tank and as the co-chair for the Ubuntu Gala. And we have some exciting updates about that later in our presentation. And I've been involved with the think tank since fall of 2023, and I've just been so impressed with Dr. Sidoni's leadership and the dedication of all of the volunteers that we have. So I'm so excited to share some updates from the past quarter.
All righty. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So here is some of our fantastically massive team. You have myself, Reverend Martin Osai, who serves as our vice chair of the board, Saida Estrada, who is based out of Charlotte. She's one of our board members, Dr. Fran Acco, and then of course, Shannon. We also have a strategic advisory board, which is made up of 3 individuals. Ashik, who is a Ugandan-born Indian. It's amazing how just diverse his background is and his identity is, if you would. And we have Dawn, who's based out of California, and then we have Saibatu, who is based out of Austin, Texas, and then also Sierra Leone. She runs a nonprofit as well that's focused on women and children's health back on the continent. We have Jose, who heads up our fundraising committee, Mafwe, who is our head of PR and communications, Dede, who heads up our programming, Ruben, who is the director of community engagement, and then the amazing Carrie, who is the engine that keeps this organization running, and she serves as senior manager of operations. Next slide. So we have an amazing leadership team across the country. So for those of you that may not know, we have a presence in 5 cities across the US, and they're listed. Here are our fearless leaders across these regions. They raised their hands and made the sacrifice of really putting themselves above or putting the organization ahead of themselves. It takes a very selfless individual to say, I want to be part of this, and I want to lead the operations in my region. It's quite a task. It's enjoyable, right? But at the end of the day, we all know the kind of society that we live in, and the challenges that come with it. So any additional hour that you get every week, for you to turn around and give that in service to the African think tank is not something that we take for granted. So if you know these individuals or you come across them, give them a pat on the back and just tell them great job, and to keep going. We do have opportunities to serve within the regions. You'll notice some regions only have one lead. Um, we're always looking for folks to raise their hands and say, listen, I want to be part of this. I want to lead the strategic imperatives in my region. So think about, getting involved at the leadership level. We could use your help. All right, next slide. Here is the rest of the team. It's just amazing. I was looking at these slides and I'm like, wow, when we presented our first town hall last year, we had maybe one slide worth of volunteers and personnel. And now we're 3 slides in, and this is not even the full picture, right? It's just amazing to see how we're growing. But this is part of the operational team. A lot of these folks are interns. A lot of them are based overseas. Our interns are spread across the world. We have some out of Ghana, and I think I saw Josephine on, who was one of our amazing interns based out of Accra. We have God's Will, who is also one of our interns out of Ghana. Cyril is based in Cameroon. Hassan is based in Pakistan. Solange and Kwesi are both based in the US. Lindsay is based out of Malawi. And she just recently joined the organization to help with our grant writing efforts. She's a very seasoned grant writer with over 10 years of experience writing grants for African diaspora and immigrant focused organizations. So we're really excited that she's here. Ijeoma is based out of Lagos, Nigeria. Praise does our bookkeeping, and he's based out of Cameroon. And then Nori does all of our digital stuff. So all the posts that you see, the emails that you get, Nori heads up all of our communications at the operational level, and she's based in the Philippines. So we have a very, very strong, infrastructure. And so it takes every single individual putting in their work, doing the best that they can for us to have the outcomes and the output that we've seen over the last year and a half, well, 2 years. All right, next slide. So a bit about us. Most of you understand why we exist, but it never hurts to tell our story again. But before we dive into some of the details, we have a nice little knowledge check for you guys. And you can drop your answer in the chat, right? We'd love to hear from you. How do you define the African diaspora? What does that mean to you? Like who belongs in that category? Drop it in the chat and we'll chat when we get your answers. All Africans from Africa. Okay, great. Thank you, Bahati. Anyone else? Don't be shy. And you can get off mute too and just say it. Good. Good. So Nada says, everyone in support of Africa. That's amazing. Nisha says, the African diaspora is the study of people of African descent from the continent and their experiences throughout the world. Great, great responses. And we'll share what the African think tank, what we perceive and what we believe is the African diaspora. Corey says, anyone with love and admiration for Africa and wants to change it for the better. Love that. How large do you think the diaspora is? Drop a number. Like an actual numerical number. Guapo. A number. Guapo says very large. Give us a number. Millions? 10 million? Okay. Shannon, really? You can't answer. You've seen the slides and you put them. You did the research. Really? You guys are just gonna copy Shannon's answer, aren't you? Guapo and Carrie are eliminated. Hope says, yeah, anyone around the world with lineage or ancestors from our ancient Alkebulan continent. I love that. Now called Africa. I love that. Okay. What percentage of the African diaspora holds a bachelor's degree? There are a number out there. – 60%. Okay. Who else? Wapo says whatever Shannon says. Shannon's not playing. Nada says 50%. Okay. All right. Yeah, you've been disqualified. And then we'll go to the next one just in the interest of time. What do you think is the largest problem the diaspora faces? Guapo says, biggest problem is bridging the gap and connecting with our fellow African Americans and Caribbeans while building businesses and creating wealth together. Ooh, that is loaded. Corey says lack of unity. Hope says infrastructure. Hi, Reese. Reese says unity. Nisha says economic disparity. Ooh, yes. Food insecurity, integration. Oh, yes, Dede. My gosh, these are some heavy, heavy items. And as we go through the next slides, which Carrie, you can go ahead and advance the slide, what I'll be presenting to you will have a little bit of all of this that you identified. So let's start by just talking about who we are, right? It's important that you get to know the African think tank if this is your first interaction with us. We are a 501c3 organization founded, technically it's April. April is when we actually registered as an organization. But I activated the idea in January. And I know this is internally we struggle with, okay, what's the actual date? Our official documents will say April of 2023, but we activated the movement in January of 2023. And I just see myself as a vessel that was triggered to take action, right? I think most of us, if not everybody on this call, at some point felt what I felt, the sense of loneliness, the sense of being in a space where you just didn't feel understood, looking around and seeing the amazing people that we are, seeing the capacity that we have, seeing the resilience that we carry as a people. And yet, I never found a space that kind of put all of that together and that promoted. Please mute team. Carrie, help me mute. I can't mute folks. Okay. I didn't see a space that provided the things that I needed and that I knew others needed. And that would be our mission, right? We exist to foster a sense of belonging. We put that first because it really comes before everything else. There's nothing that is as important to the human existence as a sense of identity and a sense of belonging and knowing that you're enough and the people around you love you as you are. They don't want you to be anything but who you are. So that's why we exist. And then in addition to that, we have an obligation to make sure that our people are doing well. And we do that through three major ways: economic, entrepreneurial, and professional transformation. What we aspire to be, when I think of 20-year plan, I see a global connected network of members of the diaspora. And there are certain core values that are critical to this organization. Trust, which has been an issue within our communities for so many years, and we are changing that. There's nobody in the African think tank that I do not trust. And it's very impressive, right? We have a large group of people, but the people that I interact with every single day, I feel connected to and I feel like I can trust them. I feel like they've got my back. And that's something that we've been missing out on as a community for many, many years. And we're changing that. Unity, I think we've all been exposed to the consequences of disunity within Africans and African nations. And we have an obligation to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes of the past. Collaboration that goes hand in hand with unity. And that's really the tenet of the Ubuntu philosophy that we celebrate. If I'm not doing well, you better not be doing well. Not that you shouldn't thrive, but you should care enough about me to where you take action and you have an obligation to make sure that your community and our people are doing well. And if you have opportunities, if you have resources, um, we should be each other's keeper. And then, of course, impact. You know, how do we take what we're doing today and create a framework that is sustainable, a framework that will impact the continent, that our kids can take and foster and take to the next level. So those are really the major tenets of the work that we're doing. Our values are listed. We believe in diversity. We believe that, like Corey mentioned, anyone that is a friend of Africa is our friend. Anyone that loves us, loves our culture, loves our people, is welcome to our table. They are part of our network. Belonging, and then, of course, community. And we're very intentional about living out these values every single day. Next slide. All right. So who we serve. So the African diaspora is anyone that considers themselves a descendant of Africa. Whether or not you were born on the continent is really none of our business. If you identify as being of African descent, and you identify as being off the continent, you are part of our network. And that number is over 2.1 million as of today. I think these numbers are from Pew Research data from 2019. Shannon, keep me honest. Which is another problem that we have to solve, right? There's a paucity of data on us. If you go online and you try to look up statistics from our people in the diaspora, it's like slim to none. And it's unfortunate, but we're going to change that, right? I think there's a lot more of us running around than is reported by these numbers. However, you know, as many of us as there are out there, we have some shared challenges, which we'll talk about in the subsequent slides. You can advance, Kara. Next slide. So post-secondary education, I think someone said 50%, you were close. Again, I think this is an underestimation. These numbers are old, but the numbers that we do have and that we can cite estimate 41% of us have a bachelor's degree or higher, 30% of those in STEM careers, and we are 30% more likely than the average American to achieve higher education degrees. We have a lot of international qualifications, which unfortunately are not recognized when we migrate outside of our home countries. And so most of us have to start over. And I speak for maybe 90% of you on this call that you know someone who's dealt with this, or you are someone who's dealt with this. We're underemployed. The rate of underemployment in our community is as high as 40%, double that of the average US worker. And you have to ask yourself, why is it that people that are so highly educated, way more than the average American, tends to be underemployed at double the rate of the average American? The math is not mathing. And we can sit here all day and talk about the reasons for that, but I think we all know what it is, and what the barriers that have been put in place to really prevent us from living our full potential. But again, we're changing that. That's why we're here. So next slide. And if you have questions, interrupt me, drop them in the chat. In terms of, socioeconomic disparities, 1 in 5 of us live below the poverty line or lives below the poverty line in the US. That is and should be a no-no. We are some of the most resilient and hardworking people I know. We should not be living below poverty lines. We should not be getting paid less than we deserve. And as you can see, we earn, again, I think that's an underestimation, $8,000 less than the average US born family. And this is if you get a job, right? So many of us have dealt with not even getting the call for the interview because of how our names sound, right? And these are some of the nuances that we have to navigate, and this is why we have to look within for some of these solutions and create those tables and the seats at the tables. Okay, next slide. Acculturation, this is one that I struggled with, still do, I think. I don't think it ever goes away. Over 30% of us, over a third of us rank um, moving and adjusting to the American culture and environment as the most stressful part of being an African in the US. And I know these statistics they're specific to immigrants, but I think even our African American brothers and sisters or siblings that were born here, I think they would agree that there's a constant underlying sense of I just don't think I belong, or I don't believe the system was built for me and I have to adapt, right? I have to change certain ways in which I would rather operate. I have to change my look or um my tone or my hair, right? In order to create a more visually acceptable um, appearance or presence. And that's not okay, right? Mental health, 20% of us deal with depression and anxiety. That number, I dare say, is grossly underestimated. I think the number is probably closer to 60 to 80%. I certainly struggled with depression and anxiety when I moved to the US for many years after I had my kids, not having community, not knowing really how the system worked, right? And it's pervasive, and we have to create space and create rooms to talk about these issues and to figure out how to help our community deal with them. All right, next slide. All right. So all hope is not lost. I know those numbers are pretty dreary, but I think it's important to take the time to understand that we don't have a choice but to be here, right? We don't have a choice but to have organizations like the African Think Tank. We don't have a choice but to support organizations like the African Think Tank. Yes, Carol. See, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you. Before you go on,
Yeah.
I wanted to I'm African American but love the continent. But I just wanted to make sure I heard correctly what the 2.1 million was. Was that Africans living outside of the continent? Because certainly if I'm going to be part of the diaspora, there's so many more like me. I would
Mhm.
expect that number to be larger.
You're absolutely right. So it includes those that were born on the continent but migrated outside of the continent, and those that were born outside of the continent but identify as a member of the diaspora, right? So, and we can talk about some of the reasons for that. So you're someone that if you raised your hand and when maybe a survey was being done and they asked you, do you identify as a member of the African diaspora? If you said yes, you would be considered part of that statistic. As we know, there are certain people that say no, right? I have friends that don't identify with the continent. I think because they don't understand it. I think there's a lot of historical context to what they know about Africa and some of the separation attempts that have been made to kind of divide our communities. And so they just identify as I'm American, I'm a Black American, right? And that's fine. We respect that. We hope that one day they will come home and they will um, see the love and experience the beauty that is Africa. But to answer your question more succinctly, Carol, it's individuals that moved to the US, or sorry, moved out of their home country and are living outside of it, and those that identify as being of African descent. Does that make sense in terms of ethnicity and
Thank
heritage?
you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So moving on to our programs, so we have a couple of solutions to some of these issues that we've identified. One of them are what we call our growth mindset mixers. Second would be Culture Bridge, which is focused on our the next generation of African diaspora members. And then the third uh, probably for me, my favorite is TAT Thrive, which are growth-focused workshops that we conduct online every quarter. Next slide. So we'll take a deeper dive into the growth mindset mixers. Like I said, these are in person. We will be hosting 6 of these this year, and they're free mixers. They're open to anyone that identifies as African, African American, or a friend of Africa. And we create opportunities to network, develop your skills, interact, and connect with individuals that may be within, the ecosystems that you either are in or you want to get into. It's really an opportunity for our community to come together. We usually have speakers at these events, and we create opportunities just to foster that sense of belonging. Next slide. There are 4 major themes that we kind of rotate these in-person events through: telling our stories, which is usually a panel of members of the diaspora, where we talk about um, just their experiences. And it could be career focused, it could be immigration focused, it could be just sharing some of the best practices they've kind of been able to acquire over the time that they've lived, and it could be personal, it could be professional, but it's really just an opportunity to celebrate each other and to give people an outlet, right, to share and also pour into others. Our keynote speaker series usually highlights an individual within the community that has um, an aspirational and motivational presence, and they're able to provide not just words of wisdom, but also resources to the attendees. Think Tank Friday is one of my favorites. This is an opportunity to give our change makers, um, a platform to pitch their ideas, pitch their ventures, pitch their organizations to the members of the community of the think tank, and in return, ask for support, whatever that looks like. It could be financial support. We've had people, seek investments. We've had people seek just mentorship. We had someone who was just seeking a grant writer and they didn't know where to go. And one thing that you all probably are very familiar with is that sometimes the things that hold us back as members of the diaspora are so little, they're so minor that it's mind-blowing. Just not knowing the right questions to ask or having the right connection within the community could make or break an individual's um, livelihood in the US. And so we want to make sure that we are that stronghold for our community members where they can seek the support that's needed. Our social events are just that. It's just a time to enjoy each other, have a good time, not too structured, just celebrate our culture, celebrate our heritage. And that's the mixture we have coming up in May. It's going to be a celebration of Africa Day, which, for those of you that don't know, the globally recognized Africa Day is May 25th. So our May mixer will be focused on celebrating that. Next slide. All right. So moving on to some of the progress we've made this year so far, we've had 10 events across all 5 chapters, over 600 registrants. We've supported 23 small businesses, and our volunteer number has grown to 280. It's crazy, mind-blowing. So a lot of individuals are hearing about our work, and they want to be part of the movement and part of the organization. And I know 99% of you on this call are volunteers. So thank you. It's very exciting. Next slide. All right. I'm not sure if Henry's on. I would have loved for him to present this. I don't see him on. Okay, I guess I'll present it. But this was one of the highlights of the first quarter. We were very lucky to get a grant from NC IDEA, which is an entrepreneur-focused foundation based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. It's our first and only grant to date, but there's more coming. So we were awarded a $5,000 grant to host a pitch competition similar or in line with our Think Tank Friday mixer that I told you about. And the Charlotte region hosted the first of these events in our at the March mixer, and we had winners, 3 winners, all entrepreneurs within the Charlotte region, and so we were able to award them with cash prizes ranging from $1,000 to $250. And so this is another way in which we support our entrepreneur community, and we hope to get many more of these grants so we can continue to award and support our small businesses to kind of move forward and push forward. There are some lessons that we learned from this, and we're going to make sure that we incorporate those in our future pitch competitions as well. All right, next slide. All right, so this is just a calendar of events for the rest of the year, along with, the dates. Our in-person events are held on Thursdays, the last Thursday of the said month. So we have May 29th is the next one from 6 to 9 p.m. local time. Again, our regions are Central and Eastern time, so make sure that you just remember 6 to 9 in your region. And then we have the themes. So the theme for May is going to be Unite and Ignite, celebrating Africa's legacy, diversity, and future. And we have the regions listed as well. Next slide. All right. I will turn it over to Carrie to tell us about Culture Bridge.
Hi, everyone. Excuse me. My name is Carrie. I'm the Senior Manager of Operations for the African Think Tank. For those of y'all who don't know me, I've got some updates and an overview of our Culture Bridge program that launched this year. Our Culture Bridge program is our kids' cultural program. It launched in January of 2025. It is a project-based learning experience for children ages 6 to 13 that consists of weekly online interactive sessions to help foster creativity, foster a sense of pride and a connection to African heritage. So that's kind of an overview of it. The overall objectives for our Culture Bridge program are to inspire creativity, connect children to their heritage, encourage innovation, and celebrate diversity. So all of the activities that we deliver throughout this Culture Bridge program align with those objectives. So in the first quarter, we held 11 Culture Bridge classes. That should not, hang on. We have had about 48 event attendees over those 11 classes. We've raised about $770. That is through registrations as well as donations that people have made. And we have partnered with Blooming Kids House, which is a Nigerian-based company, to help actually deliver the content and offer instruction during those classes. So this is a little bit of what we've covered in the first quarter. You can see that the topics are very similar between the two groups. However, the older kids go a little bit deeper into those topics. So all of these activities are they're fun, they're engaging, and they differ from week to week so that no 2 weeks look the same. So the differentiation is wonderful between these, between not just the two groups, but, from week to week as well. So we've got a good look at, different regions within Africa, different leaders, different figures, different cuisines, etc. And then what we have coming up in May, this is just a look. We are always, always, always encouraging our community or our parents to enroll their children in our Culture Bridge program. So as you can see coming up in May, they're going to be learning about Nelson Mandela. They're going to be learning a little bit about activism, creating some really fun crafts. So, we would love for you guys to sign up. And I think that is it. Sidoni, did I miss anything?
No, no. I will just say that the enrollment has been underwhelming for Culture Bridge, and I just, that's we are not hitting our goals. It's really important that the community helps us to spread the word about Culture Bridge. And one thing about Africans and African Americans is we have kids. We know how to have children. Um, so there's a lot of kids, and even non-African kids that have a vested interest in learning about our culture. There's a lot of them running around. Hold people accountable, ask them, hey, you got to sign your kid up. And it's not because, we need the funds, right, to keep this work going. But more importantly, we have an obligation to build this legacy, right? Like, we cannot let the world tell our kids about who they are. Um, a lack of identity is one of the most critical elements that will destroy a human being, not having a strong sense of identity. And so I don't know that we have a choice but to make sure that our kids are plugged into this, because this is 1 hour a week. The rest of those hours, they're going out into the world, and the world is telling them something completely different about who they are. So if anything, we're behind on with what we're providing. We should be providing more of this than we currently are. But we don't have enough kids in the program, and it's disappointing. And it also goes to show that maybe we have work to do with getting the message out, right? So challenge us to do better. Yes, we need a strategy. Challenge us. Most of you on this call are volunteers. The Culture Bridge has a committee that is made up of amazing individuals. If you are led to volunteer with that group, let us know. We'll get you plugged in. And you can help us drive that initiative forward and help us come up with ways of getting in front of the right people, be it parents, maybe libraries, schools. Yeah, we would definitely want to. We had actually talked about doing a summer camp ourselves, but again, based on the enrollment numbers, we're probably not going to be able to do an in-person summer camp, but that is part of the plan. So if there's ways to get plugged in or plug this program into existing programs, let us know. You know, uh, we are open and available to any ideas that you may have. Drop them in the chat, or when you join the WhatsApp community, you can sign up for that committee. They meet every 2 weeks, I believe, with the vendor that's based in Nigeria, and they talk about, ways to improve the program. Um, my kids are enrolled. They love it. They can't wait. I don't have to get them up in the morning to go to Culture Bridge. They have it saved on their iPads. They know how to log in. They cook their food without asking me, and they're so proud to show it to the instructor. So it's beautiful just to see the sense of identity and ownership that they've taken towards the Culture Bridge program, and also the sense of pride with them knowing where they come from and knowing the stories about, the ancient warriors of the African kingdom. So anyway, I could go on and on, but you guys get the point. Over to you, Dede. I thought Dede was on.
I'm here. I'm so sorry. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. TATT Drive Growth Focus Workshops is our other program. This is where we drive the economic, transformational, and career development. As you can see in the areas that we work with, this program is so important for all the things that we talked about, talking about challenges that we have as immigrants or African diaspora. This is the ecosystem that TAT is providing to the community so that we can use this workshop to develop some of the areas where we are weak. So these are high impact areas. Any of us, when we are weak in any of these areas, then it affects how we have impact. If we could go to the next slide, please. So TAT Drive happens every quarter. The next one is in June. And our objective is to empower participants to enhance employability and career growth through training, mentorship, and planning. Hi, Sidonie. Everybody, I am Dede. Look at that. I forgot. I had programming at the African Think Tank, but that's not very important. I just remember that I didn't tell you that. So, our objective, as I was saying, is to empower people to enhance employability, equip participants with financial literacy, and the module that we cover in each of these areas are down here. Every quarter, we move to a different module, and it's a yearly program and it's a package. So if you register and you follow all 4 of these workshops, it gives you a value package that you can know that you could do something with. The other areas I think are on the next slide, which are entrepreneurship and parenting and education. I'm gonna assume that we all know very well about entrepreneurship, but I wanna speak a little more about parenting and education. This is where TAT Drive intersect with Cultural Bridge, our other program, because one of the things that is challenging for us in America as immigrants is how to educate our children within a system that we don't very well understand ourselves. This is very challenging, and this workshop here help us to understand and know the resources that are available, how to navigate the system, and how to build our children so that they can stand up for themselves in this system, and knowing that these children are our future. Whatever we have now been able to accomplish as immigrants that have come to this country, that legacy is going to be taken over by our children. So the way that we educate our children, the way that we parent is so very important. So this one area in all 4 workshops is so dear to my own heart because I have struggled with it myself. And one of the things that I'm very proud of in my whole immigration journey is my beautiful 2 children that we have been able to raise, and we are now seeing them going to college. So please tell people about these workshops, because when we are in a system that we feel like we belong to, we grow better, we blossom better because we see other people that are like us. Again, our next session is on June 14, and it's only $10. It's only $10. Sidonie have been trying to tell you throughout the whole presentation that we are a volunteer-based organization, and we've had one grant our whole life. So we live off of these donations. So the registration for the TAT Tribe is $10. Please tell people so that we can go and build our system so we can be strong. Next slide. I don't know if it's for me, but we shall see. If it's not for me, I will give it back. Oh, this is also TAT Tribe. So far, we've had 2 sessions, one in January. The last one was in April. We have 35 tribe community members. TAT Tribe community is a community where everybody that has participated in TAT Tribe 1 or many times it becomes a member of, and there the community members and the facilitators and everybody, we stay there so that we can continue this growth process, give mentorship and guidance, and support anybody that need more support, more than what they have started in the workshop. We have raised a whopping $680 so far in registration. We've have 48 attendees. Isn't that funny? We also have 48 attendees in Cultural Bridge. Let's bring that up, people. Let's bring it up. But so far, the speakers and facilitators that have helped us are Mr. Charles and Joya. I'm telling you, some of these keynote speakers, like Mr. Njoya, came and gave us just some great nuggets in the financial aspects of things. Like, you cannot miss this. Dr. Kilo came and talked to us about the autism spectrum, which is another thing that just every parent is battling with throughout America. We have Anthony Riley Barrett that give us the financial education literacy. He's from the QAE group in New York. They know very much what they are doing. We have Ednicia Thomas from SCORE that help us with entrepreneurship. Dr. Sidoni has helped us, as well as Akafa Dosu with the career development. Kiana Grant has also helped us with entrepreneurship. And Reverend Martin Ose and Ms. Asafer have helped us so far with parenting and education. And next slide, please. Thank you. So, how to support us? As I said before, you can register for a session. You can spread the word to your network. You can share or like our TATT Drive post. Be on the lookout for them. Join our TATT Drive committee. That's where we build the program, we do the evaluation, and we think about how we can make it better for everybody. But better yet, now the brand new TATT Trivia. If you come to a TATT session, you can participate in TATT Trivia, where you will have the chance to win a prize by showing off your knowledge on all things TATT. That's why everything that we're talking about here in this Zoom meeting today, you better be paying attention, because you can win a prize with them. Thank you, and I will see you at the next TATT Drive session in June.
That's
Like
awesome.
I was saying, the next one is in June 14. And then the last one for 2025 will be October 11, before we start over again in January. So, like I say, I'm hoping to see all of you there. Send us your students, send us everybody that came to America brand new. They need this. Send them so that they don't have to take forever, like all of us, to thrive in this community. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. I think now we're gonna turn it over to Shannon, but before that, I just want to address some of the questions in the chat because they're amazing. We will have time at the end for more questions, or actually maybe we should wait in the interest of time.
I would address the questions. I think they're great, and I think happy to shorten my presentation to answer those.
Yeah, no, we don't want to shorten your presentation, Shannon. It's critical, but let me try to get through these really quickly. So Risa asked, do any of the areas of the TATT Thrive workshop focus on mental health, building relationship skills? Great question. So mental health, not really. Outside of our parenting and education workshop, I do think that we talk about some of those nuances with raising what we call third culture kids, or kids that struggle with just fitting in. But we just recently launched not a podcast, but an online series called TATT Talks. We're about 2 episodes in, and our most recent guest speaker talked about mental health and his journey with it, and also shared some insights with the community. And then, like Dede said, we had Dr. Kilo, who talked about more on the pediatric mental health side with autism spectrum disorder. But we expect that as we grow the TATT Talks program, we will bring and plan for more intentionality around the mental health topics, because that's such a big thing, as we shown in the beginning, right? With our just helping our community. I also do think that providing a space where we get to intentionally come together and foster that sense of belonging has had positive impact on the mental health of our members. I know I certainly feel it when I'm in the room and at those events. It helps me knowing that I have a space that I can go to that's not non-traditional. You know, we have a lot of cultural and social groups in the African communities, but one thing that's different about the think tank is we're very growth focused, we're very intentional. It's not just come hang out and feel good and go home. We kind of have expectations of our members to grow, right? And to really thrive. And that's different, you know, and that's something that I think also helps with that state of well-being and mental health. Relationship skills, I think Upendo mentioned this. We touch on across the focus group workshops, you know, entrepreneurship, you know, we talk about networking, career development, same thing, how to position and market yourself, um, and how to identify your strengths and communicate that in a manner that's compelling to whoever you're meeting with. So I think that's the extent. But by all means, these are topics that we can certainly bring in. We have a platform, so we can infuse them. All right. I think there was another one about, okay, what are we doing to bring African groups together? Not enough. That's the short answer. Um, there's so many of these groups. One, we need to know where they are. I don't think we know all of the groups, so we need recommendations like, hey, y'all should talk to this. Y'all should talk to this. We've reached out to a couple of groups. We do have some really strong connections within the Dallas area with the Dallas Haitians United, with Pan African Connection, with the Ghanaian Professionals Network. These are organizations that we've been able to at least start to make some inroads with. But I do agree, and I do think that there's a lot more work that we could be doing, and that we almost need liaisons, right? We need individuals that can introduce us to these groups. Even churches, we need individuals that can say, hey, I'm going to go in and talk about TATT, or I'm going to volunteer my time to go in and have a conversation with these groups about the African think tank. So we definitely could do better with that. So it's a great thought and a great suggestion. I think most groups would be open. There are some groups we've reached out to that have either not responded or um, just ignored our attempts, but they are a minority. And one thing about the African think tank is we're very focused on a growth mindset. So we don't want to partner with groups or individuals that are not of a growth mindset, or that are not of the mindset of it's not about me or us, it's about the whole, right? And so we don't force our mission and vision on anyone. We think that the people that identify with what we're building have come and will continue to come to us. But we certainly want to make an outreach, and we want to be proactive in getting them at the table, if you would. Okay. Could we bridge that? Cultural groups and parents, yes, I love that. I think that's a great idea. We can leverage those groups and maybe, you know, go in there, talk about Culture Bridge, share some flyers. If you're, you know, willing and able to um, support with that effort, we could always send you flyers and you can distribute them in your region. Just drop, you know, send a note in the chat, or send us an email, or send us a message on LinkedIn, Instagram. We're everywhere. So it's easy to get a hold of us. LinkedIn Sales Navigator, we've certainly looked into it. It's not cheap. I think the minimum cost, and they don't do a nonprofit discount. I think that it would cost us maybe $200 to $300 a month. We'd love to have it. It's such a great marketing tool. So what we did instead is we have our interns manually reaching out to Africans on LinkedIn, and it's been phenomenal. If you look at our LinkedIn following, which Shannon will look at in a second, it is 90% based on the effort of our interns. They have a template, they send messages, they talk about TATT, they invite people to the events. So it was cheaper for us to have manpower than to actually come out, with funds. But if someone on the call is willing and able to fund that as a donation, we will take it because it would make things so much easier and it would expand our reach so much further. Okay, Bahati said, share tips, contracts. Okay. We're not yet working with any companies back home, except for the one organization that is driving the Culture Bridge program. And we do have a contract with them that also has a non-compete clause and whatever. But yeah, we could use some help with, partnerships and contracting to make sure we're protecting our work. We've certainly had instances where some individuals that came to the think tank were not necessarily well-intentioned, and we quickly had to separate ourselves from those people. So we're quick to take action when it comes to any signs of lack of integrity. One thing about us is integrity means everything at the African think tank, and so we will not align ourselves with organizations or individuals that don't demonstrate that. Okay, good. Yes, we know about Africans.us. Okay. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, Shannon, over to you. There's more questions at the end, and we'll be able to address some more of these questions when we get to them. But in the interest of time, Shannon, please take it away.
All right, thanks. Okay, so I'm going to go through our strategic priorities for 2025. So at the end of 2023, the board of directors at the time of the think tank with some other key volunteers worked to create a 3-year strategic plan. We are currently in year 2 of that strategic plan. In November, right before our gala, we did have a summit to review that plan, make sure we're still on track, or to get caught up on any items that we were behind on, and also make some adjustments based on new information that we have. So our priorities for this year is to complete our organizational capacity building objectives, which include adding additional board members, increasing retention of board members, providing professional development for those members, and then hiring a full-time executive director by 2026. We are still a little behind on these goals, so we're going to keep working on our strategy for this year. And then when we have our summit again in November, we will reevaluate these priorities. Increased financial stability through fundraising efforts. You'll see later that we are behind on these as well. And then launching an online membership program. I'll have some more information about that program later in the presentation. And then expand our programming to include more virtual options with increased focus on successfully launching the Kids Culture program, the Bridge program. And so we've been able to do a lot of those virtual options with TATT Thrives as well as the Culture Bridge program. So there were 3 primary goals. The first goal was organizational capacity to strengthen the think tank's internal infrastructure through collaborative board development, refining operational processes, and enhancing team expertise. And so you can see our first objective is to increase the number of board members by 11. I think we're at 5 board members, and then create a professional development and training plan for those members and get them some mentorship opportunities. Next slide. The second one was financial stability. So increased financial stability through innovative and culturally conscious fundraising tactics, ensuring sustained growth and enabling the organization to fulfill its mission effectively. So this year we set a really audacious goal of $331,500 by the end of 2025, which is at least an increase of 20% from the previous year. And then we added a new objective at the summit in November to develop and launch an online members-only community to support financial stability and growth through membership engagement, recruitment, and renewal. And then by the end of year 1, which would be 2025, recruit 200 members, achieve a 90% renewal rate, and generate $50,000 in those membership fees. And then the last goal was to enhance and expand programming. So broaden the impact of the think tank by developing and implementing new programs. And so the objective we focused on for 2025 is 3.2, identify and prioritize collaborations to avoid program duplication, foster synergies and maximize the collective impact of TATT. So one example is with Culture Bridge, working with an organization on the continent that already has this programming pre-developed, and they can become a curriculum partner rather than us creating that curriculum from scratch and expending that time and energy. We can actually work with them. Okay, committee updates, or not committee, communication updates. So our digital reach, as you can see from Q4 of 2024 to Q2 of 2025, we have increased across all of our channels, with our greatest increase being in Meetup. We had 188 followers or subscribers, and now we're at 245 subscribers. But Facebook and Instagram have also gone up significantly by roughly 20%, with Eventbrite subscriptions increasing, and then LinkedIn increasing as well. LinkedIn and Instagram are our two largest platforms. Oh, no, just kidding. Facebook's on there too. It was just in a different number format. So my brain was like, it's smaller. It's not. So we're doing pretty good across the board on a lot of our social media. Next slide, Carrie. Okay, so a fundraising update. We raise money through a variety of ways. One is memberships, which we haven't fully launched yet, but we will get into that here in a moment. We do sell merchandise, so we're currently trying to locate a new dropshipping company. We were working with one, and we've had some issues with the production, timeliness, and then also customer service if there's any questions. So we're actually going to be looking for a new dropshipping company to handle those online orders for us and manage our storefront. Our gala, grants, vendor and exhibitor sponsorships at our in-person mixers, program sponsorships like through TATT Thrives or for Culture Bridge, program fees like Culture Bridge, and then donations in our Major Gift Society. Some updates for the fundraising committee. So Jose Lira took over TATT's as TATT's new fundraising chair, and he's done a phenomenal job. We've secured the following sponsors in Q1, the QAE Group, New York Life, and M&F Bank. And then in 2025, or for the Q1 of 2025, we've already submitted 15 grants and 4 LOIs. So our grants committee team is hard at work identifying these opportunities, writing the proposals, and getting those submitted. And so here's just our photo of our sponsors. So if you know anybody in those organizations, please send them a LinkedIn message, send them a message on Instagram, and just thank them for being supporters of TATT. So TATT memberships. This is something that we decided we were going to start doing it at the summit as a way to bring all of our members together, because right now we're all across different social medias, we're in different WhatsApp groups, but we wanted to provide a place where you could actually engage with each other in a kind of private social media like setting. So we are going to be offering different memberships per month. You have a basic membership, you have your exhibitor or business membership, and premium. And that link there, and I can drop it in the chat as well, is where you can go to sign up. And as a nonprofit organization, your membership is a donation to the organization, so it is tax deductible in addition to all the benefits you get for being an official member of TATT. So here is a screenshot of the memberships, and there is a new one that we added for TATT Thrive. So if you only want to be able to do TATT Thrive, you can subscribe and for $10 every quarter, and you will get the benefits of being a TATT Thrive member. But for this presentation, we'll only focus on these ones. So your basic membership gives you access to this online community. You get a discount to the fundraising gala. We are working on developing relationships with local business partners so that when you show your membership card on your phone, you can get a discount at the restaurant or at the place of business if it's a merchandise store, and then recognition on our website and annual report as a member. Your premium membership, as a premium member, you will get priority consideration for speaking and presenting at TATT events and programs. You'll also get access to the online community, which includes the job board, on-demand trainings. And then for all of the TATT Thrive focus groups, you do get admitted into that automatically without having a TATT Thrive subscription. And there's online forums where you can talk with each other, you can talk with the leaders, you can post updates about the different work that you're doing, or if you created any kind of action plans after your workshop, you can give an update to the community on how you're doing or if you have any roadblocks and work with each other. Premium members can post jobs for free on the internal job board. So just as Dr. Sidoni had mentioned earlier, helping lift each other up and create those opportunities for each other within the community. This is one way that you'll be able to do that. Also discounts and early access for the gala. Discounts at local businesses, you get a free t-shirt, and then recognition. And then the exhibitors or business membership, it's $75 per month. And the main benefit for you is you get a free booth at the in-person mixers for your local region. If you only want to buy a booth, it's $75 per event, but you don't have access to the online community. You don't have the ability to post a job. So if you're trying to hire somebody for your company, you wouldn't be able to do that if you were only purchasing a booth at the event. Also at the event, you get a call out to all the attendees. You get a chance to say your name, the name of your business, and what you do, and give like a little mini pitch. And yeah, the free t-shirt and recognition on our website. Okay, so the other kind of project program that I get to work on, it's probably my favorite, is the Ubuntu Gala. Save the date for November 15th, 2025. It's in Grand Prairie, Texas at the Ruth Jackson Center. And you should be seeing some emails about it here pretty soon. Tickets are not yet on sale, but sponsorships are available. Carrie, if you'll hit the next slide for me, please. Here's what you can expect. If you went to the gala last year, you know that it was an amazing event. There was so much, the community was great. There was great food, music, wonderful outfits. And so we'll have a lot of the same elements as this past year. You'll get to see a fashion show with a rising African designer, a keynote address, cultural performances, authentic African food, lively music. There'll be some fundraising. And now that we've secured our venue, we can actually increase this number to 400 attendees. So there's plenty of room for you to buy a table, bring all of your friends with you, bring your family with you, so we can celebrate a night of African culture. The next slide. So here's just a quick rundown of what to expect. The VIP reception, if you buy a sponsorship or the VIP ticket package, you'll be able to attend the VIP reception at 6, where you'll get to mix and mingle with the other VIPs and other sponsors. The celebration and dinner starts at 7, which has the fashion show and the keynote address and the music and performances. And then at 10:30, we have TATT After Dark. So if you only want to attend TATT After Dark, you can buy a special ticket, but you wouldn't be able to attend the dinner. If you buy a ticket to the dinner, you get to go to TATT After Dark. And it really is just a club. It's a vibe. You just come, dance, have fun, and just enjoy the rest of the evening. Okay, next slide. So here's just some photos from this past year to entice you to save the date, so that when tickets go on sale, or if you decide to become a sponsor, you get to enjoy some of this food. And this is all crafted by African chefs here in the Dallas area. So we get to patronize businesses in the African diaspora community. Okay, Carrie, if you'll go next. Here's some of the fashion that we had. So last year we were lucky enough to have Miss Texas come make an appearance in our fashion show. And again, this is by a local African designer. Next slide. Some entertainment that we had. So we have DJs, we had cultural performances, we had wonderful MCs who helped lead the event throughout the night and kept the crowd energized. Next slide. And then the celebrations. This was probably my most favorite part, was just seeing everybody come together, have fun, and enjoy each other's company, and just to have a chance to connect with each other. Okay, so like I said, sponsorships are available. They start at $250 and go all the way up to $15,000, depending on what package of benefits you would like. Our keynote, we can't say who it is yet. The press release is not out yet, so we're not quite ready. We're not quite able to share with you, but we're super excited for this keynote. This individual is a high-powered CEO, very well known within the community, somebody that I hope you recognize. And if you don't, you need to hop on YouTube right away and look up this individual. They will be a very dynamic speaker. They have a wonderful story and a voice to share. And I think we will all leave inspired by their keynote. So more to come there. Okay. Any questions so far? I know there's been a few in the chat, but I think we can hop on that at the end.
No, someone really loves that bright jacket.
Yes, I love that jacket. I want the jacket. I want to dress. I want to dress in that pattern.
That's the inspo for the gala, Darcy.
Yes. So you can expect bright, colorful patterns, very lively, vibrant, as far as our decor and the theme for the event. So we're really excited about it. Okay, so on to our revenue. So you remember earlier I said we set a very audacious goal for ourselves to raise $331,000 through all of these different means. And our actuals to date, like we are very far behind in a lot of these areas. And so we really need your support to bring in more folks. For memberships, we have raised 370. So that is a little bit higher, but it's not closing the gap for us. Merchandise. Yes, go ahead, Corey.
Oh.
Corey, did you have a question? Oh, okay. For our gala, we are just now starting fundraising activities, so that's not atypical to see 0 or a really low number at this point. I think we've maybe received a few commitments, but the revenue hasn't come in yet. For grants so far this fiscal year, we haven't received anything. We do have funds that we are expending from last fiscal year that are helping support some of the programs. Oh, I skipped over merchandise. We had to skip over the merchandise because, or not skip over, the merchandise is low because we're trying to figure out a new drop shipping company. I think Sidoni and I are those revenues right there as we tested it out. And then for vendor and exhibitor sponsorships, making sure we get more vendors to come to our mixers and to buy a booth so that they can not only sell their products, but also support our mission. Program sponsorships, that is where, our grants team is also stepping in to help there as well. Program fees, which is primarily Culture Bridge, we need to get more students involved. And then just general donations, at 3,500. So in total, 11,500. We're operating really lean, primarily off volunteers. And then here's our expenses. So it looks like we're in the red, but we also had some grant funding that carried over from last year. So we are still in the black. We're still doing fine, but we definitely need a lot more operational support and to start really getting in some of those sponsorships. Okay, I can address some questions in the chat and then we can do Q&A. Let's see. Let's see. So Darcy asked about financial goals, and so we went over that. So there are some questions about what are the requirements to be a board member. The main requirement is, I think legally you do have to be 18 or older. That is one of our requirements. There's 3 different fiduciary duties that we look for in board members. First is a duty of care. You care about the organization's mission and it's personally impactful to you. A duty of loyalty, that you're loyal to the mission of the organization. You're allowed to serve elsewhere and do other volunteer activities. You don't only have to serve on our board and nobody else, but you're loyal to the mission itself and that you're not there to influence or change it. And then a duty of obedience, which also is I will obey the bylaws of the organization. I will fulfill all the commitments that I've made. As a board member, you sign a 1-year commitment, and there's a list of different duties that include some of those duties, as well as supporting any governance items, supporting programs, serving on a committee. So that's really what we primarily look for in somebody who would like to serve on the board of the African Think Tank. I believe the process is you would contact somebody currently on the board, submit your resume, and then we will do some kind of interview process before you would be added. And then every year we ask for those renewals.
I have an additional question. Sorry. Is there a financial commitment to be a board member?
There's not a minimum, but we do ask that you give or get. So you can either give from your own personal pocket, or if you go out and you fundraise from others and you bring that into the organization, that is one of the duties of being a board member. And it's completely up to you how you want to fulfill that obligation. And we will work with you as well. I oversee a lot of the governance work on the board, and so I'll work with you primarily, or Sidoni as our board president will work with you, and whatever that looks like. Because we don't want finances to be a reason why you don't serve at a greater capacity if you have the passion to do so. So we had a question on how many people flew from other states to the gala, and then how can we encourage those members from other states in the second event? Sidoni, do you remember? I think it was maybe like a 60-40 split, or maybe 70-30.
I answered, I thought I answered that.
You did?
I
Oh,
think
yeah, you
about
did.
30 to
You did.
40 from the other regions, Hope. And yes, that is definitely on our marketing and outreach strategy, is to get as many of our members, and they don't necessarily have to be from the other 5 regions. They could be from anywhere in the world. We want them in the room, right? As long as they are a member of our community and they identify with our work. One of the things that we expect will happen is that we will get to a place where we will be holding 3-day conferences, and they will be global, right? And part of those 3 days will be a gala. So the goal is big, and we want everybody in the room that can be in the room.
Yeah. And then Darcy asked about fundraising. So excluding the gala, it is around $200,000 in fundraising, most of that being unrestricted fundraising is the goal. And we don't currently have monthly milestones. Since this is only our second year going into fundraising, it is hard to do forecasting to set up those monthly milestones. I believe for our in-person mixers, we do have goals set aside for each mixer to bring in X number of donations, X number of vendors. And then we did have some goals around those enrolled in Culture Bridge, and we just haven't been able to meet those numbers. So as we are approaching the middle of the year, we're probably going to need to do some discussions at the board level about what do these goals look like? Are they still attainable? And how do we need to pivot from here? As for grants, because again, we're going into our second year and we're really starting to hit those grants, we don't have a complete understanding of what our pipeline looks like from prospect all the way to and through ones that we've won, because we've only secured one grant. And depending on the foundation or the entity that's awarding the grant, it could be a 2-week timeline all the way up to a 6-month timeline. And so unfortunately, with institutional or foundation giving, there is some time it takes for us to be able to develop that pipeline in a way that we can actually start to forecast and project forward what those revenues will look like. But I see your comment about contacting professionals with 10 years or more of work experience in the US and targeting them for the membership. And so we haven't activated a marketing plan for the membership yet. And so now that we've gotten in front of you all, we've done our town hall, we are going to start putting together that membership, and that is a great recommendation and something we can ask our interns to certainly help with. And so I want to encourage everybody on this call to become a member in order to get those who are not already in love with TATT and close to the organization to become a member. We need to have an active page, and the only way to get an active page is to get all of you on there. So we'd love to have you guys join officially as members on our website. Again, it's $25 a month, and you have the ability to see an online directory, work with people, network, and really start to build that community with each other. Okay. Sidoni, would you like to do the Q&A? Open the floor, go through a few of these questions. I think we're at time, but.
We're almost at time. I want to start with probably one of the questions that I don't think we've touched on throughout the presentation. So we'll kind of go in order of priority. And I'll start with the very last question, which says, is TATT doing any outreach to international or African diaspora students in college and graduate programs to support them as a family away from home? And I know one of our board members, Fran, has been working on this initiative. So I'd like for her to talk about it a little bit. We didn't talk about it today because it's actually a Q2 initiative. We just launched it in the last month. But we'll be reporting out more of the outcomes from this at the Q2 overview town hall. So Fran, Dr. Fran or Dr. Acko, if you want to just kind of give us a light overview of kind of what you've been working on in terms of the outreach.
Thank you. I think what we envision is really reaching out to the African diaspora society and students in various campuses and various universities. So we have had some of our interns working in the background, identifying some colleges in the regions that were currently present with a good African diaspora community. I'm actually started off with Houston. I've had a meeting with Rice University that seems to have a good African diaspora community. They have disseminated in their newsletter. So I had a meeting with one of the faculty. They've disseminated TATT in their newsletter. They've shared what we stand for. We've actually had interest from students at Rice University reach out for opportunities for internships. So our goal is to be able to tap into this community and be able to understand what gaps there are and how we can help this community. And until we do that, which the work has just started, then we would, whatever program we form to address that gap and that need would really come out of once we've engaged that community. But that work is actively going on, and I'm leading that initiative, and I've actually have a meeting already scheduled, and we're working towards that.
Thank you, Dr. Acko. And just to kind of add more color to that, we've had one of our team members has put together a list of about 10 to 15 universities per region, not just of these academic institutions, but also of embassies, because we're here, not just to serve students, but the general African diaspora populations as well, or population as well. And so some of the major entryways into these communities would be obviously the schools, the embassies, because they do have an obligation to serve members of the diaspora that are from those home countries. And then in addition to that, which someone mentioned, just getting into cultural associations and building allyships with those entities as well. So that's definitely on our priority list. What other question should we answer that I don't think we've talked about? What information? Well, I'll just start from the top. Opportunities for local involvement. I think we talked about that, how to get involved. Maybe it's the next slide, Shannon, but go to our website. It's the easiest way to get involved, theafricanthinktank.com. You can scan this QR code. It'll take you to our link tree that has all of the links that you could ever need. I certainly encourage everyone to become a volunteer. That's, you can support us through your time, your treasure, or your talent. And I will say that money is great, but we need boots on the ground. We need people that are dedicated and that are consistent and that are committed, right? And so if the fire is burning in your heart for our people and the diaspora, the way it's burning in most of our hearts on this call, I challenge you to kind of take things to the next level and serve on a committee, get involved as a volunteer. We have an upcoming session on the 3rd, led by Shannon. We host volunteer onboarding and training once a month, and then get plugged in. We have a WhatsApp community where we do a lot of our operational engagement within the volunteer and the committees. We have needs in so many of the committees, fundraising committee, programming, the Culture Bridge program, which we talked about, the steering committees at the regional level. We have a communications committee. We will soon have a strategic partnerships kind of endeavor, which will address some of the questions we've had tonight, and that's some of the work that Dr. Acko is doing. but we need to blow that up, right? We want to be talking to as many entities and as many organizations as possible. We have a grant writing committee. They push out grants, a couple of times a week. So there's a lot of work to be done, and we need all hands on deck. So that's probably the best way to get plugged in. And once you get in the WhatsApp community, there's a directory of committees that you can join. Look for the one that feels most relevant to your skill set and to your passion, and get plugged in. And then, the committee head or committee chair will get you oriented and acclimated. We have people that have joined the community, but they haven't necessarily they've joined the WhatsApp community, but they haven't gotten plugged into an actual committee. So they're just floating. And we certainly want you to be plugged in and serving in a capacity that's going to bring value. Okay. Let's see. What other question did we have? I could just read them. Okay. How can members of the African diaspora contribute their gifts and talents? I would say the short answer to this is just get plugged in with the African think tank. There's so much that this is a loaded question. There's so much we could do for the continent, but I personally believe, and I don't have to be right on this, that unless we're organized as a diaspora and we're united and we have leverage, it's going to be really hard to effect sustainable change on the continent. So many of us have, we do things in silos and we do bits and pieces, but it's really going to take a united effort, right? If you follow what's going on in Burkina Faso, that's one example of that, with just how the population has rallied around their president. Like, we need to do that for the diaspora, where we're intentional and we build a platform that cannot be broken. And it's possible. We're doing it right now. We've addressed bullet number 3. We've addressed bullet number 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. How do you navigate working in different cultural environments while remaining culturally grounded? Building community, being audacious to take risks and thread into the unknown, or tread into the unknown, building mentorships or building mentors, building a strong network of individuals that have a like-minded mindset as you, and that can support you and give you advice. And then you have to listen. So many of us didn't have anyone to help us navigate the US system. So there should be no pleasure in repeating mistakes that others have made. Learn from those that have gone before you. But I think for me, the most important thing is finding a community and being connected to them. Adjusting to a foreign culture, I think I would give similar advice. And now with the advent of the internet, a lot of these communities are online. But I'm a proponent of in person and building that human to human connection. So if you're fortunate enough to have that, take advantage of it. Okay, I think we're 3 minutes over. Let me check the chat. Oh, I like this. What news outlets do you recommend for factual news? Ooh. Oh, I don't know. I don't know who wants to take this, but Carol's question is a great question. What news outlets do you recommend for factual news about events on the continent?
I want to contribute to that.
Please do.
What I want to say is, no matter the news outlet, we have to have a critical mind. And we have to educate ourselves on what's going on, because everybody's going to have a bias. No matter the news outlet, they're going to have their own sides. So you, the consumer, having a critical mind and educating yourself will help you know, I don't know, whatever this news outlet, let me check on it or something. But there's nobody that you can trust 100, no news outlet that we could trust 100%. Unfortunately, that's how it is, because they are all biased towards something.
That is a great answer. I'll tell you what I do. I look at a lot of different news outlets. I don't necessarily have a go-to. I tend to get tidbits from a variety of different ones, to Dede's point, and then I critically analyze what's being shared and my knowledge of the environment to help me discern what is actually real versus what's fake. And the danger with social media now is everybody is putting out news, and the amount of deep fakes and just it's crazy. So we have to be very, very careful about what we take in and what we digest, which is scary. I know it's not a great answer, but that's what I do. Okay. We are 5 minutes over time. We appreciate you guys staying on. Are there any other final thoughts, comments, feedback? If not, I would like to say this has been great spending time with everyone and just having this really deep and you know, fulfilling and engaging conversation. So anyone have any final thoughts? You can come off mute and just speak from your heart. We don't have to keep it in the chat.
This has been a very exciting process, seeing it from something grow from one meeting to, in September of 2023 to what it is now. It's just great being a part of this growth process. And y'all are doing a wonderful job in the organization. I mean, the way you've made the different categories and organizations and all of that is phenomenal. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Hope. You made it all happen with your support and just being present and showing up every time. That goes a long way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also want to say thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. And this was very informative for me being new. I really enjoyed your insights, and getting to really understand how the African think tank came to be. A lot of what you all said resonated with me. So thank you so much. And I hope that we continue to grow as an organization. And I know we will.
Yes. We can't go anywhere but up. When you think about how old we are and how much we've been able to accomplish, it's I think I underestimated the hunger and the desire for what we're offering. And it's very humbling when I think about it because I didn't see this in the vision. I was very small-minded. I thought, oh, let's just get 20 people together in Dallas, and look at me now. I have no idea what happened. But it's go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's very rare to have a Pan-African group like this. People are nationalistic, and there's so many people just with their own tribe or, their country. So that's why it's so great is the openness of the Pan-African different countries coming, people from different countries come together. It usually doesn't last long. It's theoretically, but it working it's great.
Yeah.
And historic, actually.
Yes, it is. And it's I think it's proof that we can do it, right? I think so many of us have been disillusioned and discouraged based on history, and I think we're proving everybody wrong, and we're proving to us and to others that we are capable of getting together and building for good and creating excellence. So we will continue to do that. So thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate you. Get plugged in, stay focused, stay amazing, and have a great rest of the week and weekend. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
All right, thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Night, night.
Good night. Be safe.